Welcome back. So in our last section, we spent some time practicing an exercise to turn our attention into our bodies and to start to take an inventory just to become aware of what kind of feelings live in our body. We looked in specific areas like the jaw, throat, chest, and gut to try to figure out where we might hold tension, constrictions, knots, anything that might cause us some sort of discomfort or pain. Once we start to notice what's present in our bodies, then we start to look at what is our relationship with these feelings. How do we respond to them? What do we do with them? Do we embrace them? Do we welcome them? Do we comfort them? Or do we dislike them? Do we hate them even? Do we fight them and try and push these feelings away? Get rid of them? These are the things that we'll really want to examine. If our overall objective or goal in this introduction is to start to make choices on how we will respond to our emotions, one of the first things we have to look at is how our default, our automatic response to these feelings is. So once we start to look in, we see what our feelings are, and we notice what our reaction is, then we can start to make choices. We start to say, here's the feeling, and I want it to go away. That is the default automatic response. Now my choice is, I can continue doing that on the one hand, or I can try something new. The goal is to get to this point where we can start to make these choices. Now I assume that if you're watching this video, it's because you want to try something new. So the first thing is, we have to start practicing noticing these feelings. We're going to introduce a concept now called parallel processing. And this is not some big psychological term. It's something that every single person does every single day. We just want to tune this skill into our emotional awareness. Parallel processing refers to doing multiple things at the same time without thinking about it. We're not talking about multitasking, we're talking about just doing multiple things. So when you drive a car, for instance, steering, foot on the accelerator, moving back and forth to the brake, checking your mirrors, looking in front of you, looking behind you, moving lanes, turning, getting to a destination. These are all different tasks that we're doing at the same time, and most of the times without thinking about it. So we want to do the same thing with our bodies. The first thing is, we want to notice, what am I feeling? There's the familiar feeling in my chest. Once we can be very aware and we have our attention on all of our feelings in our bodies, the tension in our chest, the pit in our gut, the clenching in our jaw, the dry choking sensation in our throat. Once we're aware of all of these and we can notice them without having to think too much, then we add something new. Okay, there's the feeling, I'm angry. There's the emotion, or I'm scared, or I'm sad. Okay, when we look at the feeling, we notice the emotion, then we add one more thing. My belief is, it's because I'm a bad person. My thought pattern is, they're doing it because they don't like me. I'm not worthy of being liked. So we pay close attention to all of these things. And then we make choices on what we will do with them. First step is just noticing these things and practicing it enough to where we can notice them as our first nature. We're just in tune with what we're feeling, what emotions are present, and what our beliefs are. Once we have these things hammered down and we're in tune with them, and it's our first nature, then we make choices on what we're going to do. So a good way to start to formulate the something new that we can do, either we keep the same pattern going or we do something new, a good question is, when we tune into one of those feelings, a question we can ask is, how long has this feeling been here? And we can trace it to where we first started feeling this. Was it today? Was it last week? Was it a year ago? Was it 5 years ago? Was it early in my life? The next question is, when I was first feeling this, what did I need? What were the things that I needed? Was it somebody to be there with me, someone to comfort me, somebody to listen to me and try and understand me? Once we understand the things that this feeling is trying to get, the needs that it's trying to get met, we kind of understand what it's trying to get us to do. Now we just make the choice to start to do that. What that can look like is a very simple stopping, calming, resting, and then healing. Okay, if we're feeling tension in our bodies, if we have a pit, we have a knot, we have a constriction, we have a weight, this is coming from some pain somewhere early in our life. If we have this pain, we're wounded, we're injured. We need to heal. When we look at animals in the wilderness, when they get injured, when they need to heal, they don't keep hunting, they don't keep going around and doing all of their tasks. But we as humans do that. We want to keep going to work, we want to keep doing all of our tasks, we want to keep up with all the responsibilities, and a lot of the times these are there as adaptations to this pain. For instance, if I believe that I'm not good enough, then I go and work extra hours so that way I can be good enough. Okay, so what we do, the first thing is we notice, okay, I'm feeling this tension in my chest. This is big anger or this is sadness that I'm feeling. It comes from this place. It needs attention. It needs me to sit with it and process it. So whatever I'm doing, I stop. I just take a moment to myself, turn my attention inward, and I try to calm and soothe this feeling that's there. Now, when I work with somebody who's very activated and is very rigid and is having a very difficult time or in a state of danger or high acuity, right, heightened emotions, if they come to me and I get heightened and I try to fight them or to argue with them, it's not going to help. So the next thing that they need, the thing that they really need is somebody to be very calm and grounded and to see and engage with them. And so that's what we try to do. We notice the emotion, we stop what we're doing, and we just try to calm. Just try to relax. Just try to sit with it. Okay? The next thing that we do is we allow ourselves to rest. This is a tricky one. While I'm talking here, I'm trying to rest, but I find myself wanting to communicate this properly. So again, when I notice that, I come back into resting. When an animal is wounded, it doesn't continue to eat. It stops. It makes a little burrow. It hunkers down in its nest or in its little cave, and it allows its body to heal. And we have to do the same thing. And these are the prerequisites for the healing. Okay, so in short, just to recap, we tune our attention into our body. We notice what we're feeling. We pay very close attention to it. We try to make this our first nature. We try to get to the point where we can be very aware of what I'm feeling in my body at all times. We can notice what emotion is present with that. My heart's beating faster, my breathing is constricted, there's a heavy weight and a hot flush, I'm angry. There's a pit in my stomach, my body's getting very cold, I'm getting very rigid, I'm scared. What is the belief that's associated with this? I'm angry because this person's disrespecting me. It's because I'm not worthy of being respected. It's because I'm not good enough. So we want to pay very close attention to the feeling, the emotion, and the belief. Once we start to pay very close attention to these, we start to make choices. What is my response to this? Do I keep that same response going? Do I distract myself, try and push this feeling away, try and get away from it? Or do I do something new? Something new that we can do is we stop, we try and calm, we rest, and we heal. And we can do these things just by paying attention to ourselves, just by paying attention to what we're feeling, just by showing up and trying to listen to these things, just trying to understand where they come from and what they want from us. Again, this is just the introduction. We're just trying to get in touch with these. We'll move forward in the future.